Hello, it's the Imperfect Gardener here to talk about some imperfect weeding. Sometimes you want to get every single weed out of your garden, right? It'd be fabulous, wouldn't it? My garden's big, and I don't have time. And since I'm imperfect in it, and I know I'm still going to get good vegetables, I don't have to get every single weed out of my garden. One thing that you can do when it gets this bad, see these over here? And again, it's not that I've been neglecting my garden, but we've had rain about 3 days out of 7 this week. Well, actually, out of the past day, 3 out of 5 of the past days, lots of rain. And those weeds will just go crazy, especially when I haven't actually weeded in this area yet at all this season. I planted these, hadn't weeded here yet. Okay, over here is an area. See over there? There's an area I did some imperfect weeding in a week or two ago. And yeah, you can see some more weeds coming up, but the stuff is growing really well. So, and then over here, I should show you these poor carrots. You can't really do your imperfect weeding as well around these carrots because they're so tiny and you've really got to get stuff out. I have another video about that if you want. But I weeded this area a little more carefully around these carrots to get those going. And I need to take a break from that, bending over or sitting on the ground doing that because I have more of it to do. But I also realize it's going to take a while, and I'm concerned about the rest of my garden. This whole section, let's see, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've got about 6 rows that are really have quite a velvety green lawn growing over top of where I don't want it. So I'm going to show you how I do this in the imperfect way that's quick, just to get these out of here. I haven't been able to get out here at all. These, it's simple around. Look at these. This is established plants. And I just did this right here with the green peppers. You can see is there still some weeds down here? Yep, there are. But all I did was come through with a hoe and hoe it and just chop, 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 chop. Might have put my fingers down here and pulled a little bit close around the peppers themselves. That's just bend down, pick a few right around them. But all of them I didn't even do that on yet. Like this one, you can see there's still grass under here. It's grassy weed. I call it grass. It's a grassy weed looking thing that I get. I haven't gotten all of that yet. And you'll see there's grass under here. I didn't pull all these weeds out. What I did is I hoed and I buried them up a little bit. Okay, hoed and buried. And I'm going to show you it over here. Reason being, I just did this about, an hour ago. Are some of these still going to live? Are some of those weeds going to pop back up? Sure are. But today, I don't have time to worry about that. Today, I've got to get enough of them down so that this can get all the nutrition it needs from the watering that I'm doing and stuff. Same with that celery down there, I've got enough out around them so they can breathe, and so they can get the water and the weeds aren't stealing all the water. I would say probably 3/4 of these weeds, or 2/3 you could say, actually probably 2/3 of the weeds that I just chopped out with the hoe right here won't come back. They'll die just from their root being pulled up and then be laying here in the hot sun, and most of them will die. Okay, some of them will pop back up, start to keep growing because they're just under the dirt a little and the root isn't completely up, but that's okay. Once I get the majority of these down in these rows where they're just taking over right now, get the majority of them down, and then I know I've got a little more time the next few weeks after this because I'm off work for a while, and I can get out here and do some more particular weeding if I really, really want to. But I also know that when these pepper plants really take over as they get bigger, if all I do is just keep coming through with a hoe and smash out most of the weeds, these guys are going to grow nice and big. And once they get bigger, these little baby weeds aren't going to have a chance, around them that much. Coming through and just squashing them with a hoe, it does work. You don't have to do everything by hand. So how does it work? Just like this. This is how simple it is now. You're probably going to shake a little while I do this because I'm holding my phone. But all I do is I just take the hoe and I just go for it. I just chop through them. And I actually use 2 hands, and then sometimes I use 1 hand to give the other hand a break. I chop through it like this. You can get fairly close to the plant without hitting the plant. Just be careful. Yesterday it didn't rain, so these did not get watered yesterday, really. And then I just go like this. Once I've done that section, just push it back on top of itself a little bit. You're basically stirring it up. You're stirring it up. Chopping those loose and stirring it up. Now, some of them I'll go, oh, here's a bunch coming off, and I'll push them off onto the, in between the rows where I don't want them. But for the most part today, since I'm in a hurry, I'm chopping and I'm stirring. That's it. That's all I'm doing. Chopping and stirring. And I've just killed 2/3 of the weeds around here. And I just keep going on to the next one. And once I get going here, chopping and stirring method, I can do this whole row in about 10, I don't know, 5 to 10 minutes, maybe less. And so in, 1, 2, 3, in about an hour, I should be able to chop and stir all the way down to where the end of those tomatoes are, down to that row down there where it doesn't look so weedy down there, because I already weeded it out some last week. All right, so, or either that or it's where I grew new stuff and the weeds haven't taken over yet. So that's the chop and stir method. It's the imperfect method of getting rid of weeds, but it really works well. And then I will take my rototiller and I will come down in between these rows. That's why I like to leave space between my rows. I'll just come down with my tiller and just rip all this stuff up. And there's some over here needs to be done. In between, just come through the rototiller and till that all under. And it'll be fabulous. And in between doing that, I'll take a break, come over, do some of the tedious stuff around the carrots over here till I get those carrots freed up. Then we'll see a big difference in how they're growing. These ones still are growing all right. Ones down there are doing all right. This middle section is a different kind, and they're struggling against those weeds. So I got to really get those cleaned out. Anyhow, there you go. Imperfect weeding for imperfect gardeners. And I say, as long as you get some veggies, you're in good shape. So, have fun gardening.